Hello lovely people of YouTube, it's Cornwolf here. Thank you for joining me for another video today. And today we're just going to have a look at some basic little tips and tricks for building your cars. I'm not actually looking at the tuning aspects, might go into little bits here and there. But this is mainly just to show you different things that you need to watch out for and how to build a car to start off with. First of all, I'm going to do another video on this, but this car that you're seeing right now is the Audi S3 Saloon. It's the BTCC car. I'm not sure how many C's I said there. But this has been done by Stuzib, and it's absolutely fantastic. I asked him to do a livery for me for a touring car series that we're doing on the S2 forums. And he obliged, and he's come up with this bad boy. And the guy's incredible. He's managed to do all this, and he was running out of layers, and he's done a few insider tips and tricks to get it all up there. But my race team is Los Palomas Hermanas, which is the Chicken Brothers, and why not have a wolf chasing the chickens and stuff like that. Just this is absolutely fantastic. So if you have got the S3, go and download it. There's various numbered ones, but I'm number 7 for various reasons. To me, I'm not copying any sports stars. It's just a number that is significant to me. So I'm number 7 in the S2 race team. Anyway, let's get to it. There we go, just a little delay there. So let me just turn down my TV so you're not hearing that over me. It's a little bit loud. So basically there's a few things that you need to know, and what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to show you something in the career mode. So I need to pick one here, so let's go there. So we need to do the third one. I'm doing the US tour. I'm just going to skip her speaking for a second. So you've got your 6 bits, and obviously the more of the game opens up, the more of these you do. But just something that you all need to be aware of, and this goes for all of them. I believe it does change once you open up the game more. I've not done a lot of the single player stuff. That's not because I don't want to. I get a little bit too wrapped up in the multiplayer aspect of things, doing tuning videos and whatnot. But also, I've been at Eurogamer for 4 days, and I've had a few other things doing and quite busy at work, so I just don't get time. So anyway, if we're going to Classic Compact, it doesn't matter which one you do. So I've got some cars there, but if you go to buy a car, if you haven't got one, and what you'll notice is every single car that you can select from here is either in E300 or it will get to E299. So basically, all these cars are not at max level straight away. There's about, off the top of my head, about 12 cars in the game that are actually at max level. Straight off the bat, I know they did the car pack from when you if you pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition, and it did come with, I think, one for each class, ready tuned to an extent and built, so you could just drive that straight out. But not all the cars, none of these are tuned up or built up to this level. So let's just take a quick look at what we can race here. Let's pick the Lotus Cortina. I haven't got one of those, it's not got the garage symbol next to it. So what I'm going to do is, I know I need a Lotus Cortina, and according to this it needs to be E300 for this series. Because if you go back, let me just go back again, it doesn't tell you the restrictions, it doesn't tell you anything here, which is a bit rubbish. So we need it to be E300, and it needs to be the Cortina. So we're just going to back it out all the way, thank you, and we're just going to find the cars. So we'll go to find a car, we'll scroll across till we get to F, because I think it's a Ford Lotus Cortina or something like that. Be down the bottom somewhere. No, there it is. So as you can see, it's E256, and obviously we need it to be E300. So we're going to buy it. Let's see what Shonkin liveries we've got here. Smoky McPockets. There we go. Quick shout out to Smoky McPockets. I'm not too sure what your livery is showing there, mate. Oh, okay, I get it. People, yeah, okay. Let's show a bit of love to Smokey. Come on, let's get his livery down there. He's basically painted like the indented bits. So let's put that on. Bit of elevator music while this is going on.
This is your 1966
there we go. She can
Ford.
be quiet for a minute. So you've brought the car, so what we need to do, we need to go to the upgrade shop. I'm not worrying about tuning for now, and you've got all these lovely wonderful options. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go through all these different options with you, and then obviously show you what the difference is. So conversions, first of all, this is where you can swap bits of your car. So the engine swap, you can physically swap out the engine. So you've got the stock engine, you've got a rally engine there, you've got a 5.7 litre V8 and a 3.7 litre V6 VVT. I'm going to leave it stock. The main reason why we'd leave it stock for this is because we need it to stay in the E-Class, and any of these others take it straight up to C. Drivetrain swap, so you can either put it in four-wheel drive or leave it in rear. If you're in a front-wheel drive car, you can go from front to rear or to all-wheel, and obviously it changes your PI accordingly. So we're going to leave this in rear-wheel drive. And then the aspiration here is where you can put a big dirty turbo, twin turbo, camshaft, stuff like that into the car. You can do your centrifugal supercharger and different things like that. It does bump us up quite a bit, but I'm going to show you a reason why we're not going to put that in right now. So one of the things that you need to bear in mind is when you're building a car, you need to think about what makes a good racing car. Now, for example, we'll look at it in this way. Recently, the Lotus F1 cars have been sliding all over the place on the track. They go through various tracks where they're a little bit more stable, but they've got quite a lot of power, but they haven't got the grip, or they haven't got the there's something not right with the setup or whatever on the car, and they can't make that car stick to the ground as well to carry the speed through the corners, take a corner properly, keep it within track limits and things like that. So that means that they're actually losing time and positions because they can't get around the corners. Now look at the the McLaren Honda. They have got a fairly decent car in terms of aerodynamics and whatnot, but their engine, as it stands, is pretty crap. The last race, Alonso was saying it's a GP2 engine and nothing better than that, and he was venting his frustrations, and that's because they're about 40 or 50 horsepower down on the other cars. So they're sticking to the track most of the time. They're not really spinning out and different things, but they're just slower. So you've got to weigh up your options. Do you want better grip and to keep it on the track, or do you want to be slower? Now, when we're building the cars, we will add horsepower to them, but I always prefer to go for the grip and the stability over the power, because you can put as much power into a car as you want, but it isn't going to win you a race if you can't turn a corner. So unless you're doing drag racing, which is a completely different kettle of fish, and to an extent oval racing, because you don't need an awful lot of you wouldn't need brakes, for example, on a if you were building an oval car, because you shouldn't really be braking on it, and you don't need to really worry about your brakes. So what you need to do is you need to make a compromise here and there, especially in the lower classes, but I potentially would always go for having extra grip and stability over power, especially in the lower classes, because that means then you can carry more speed through the corners and keep your momentum up in the slower cars, as opposed to if you're in A class, you might want to potentially sacrifice a little bit of grip for a little bit more power, but that's because you've got the acceleration to get you out of the corners. But in E, D, maybe C class, you're not going to have a lot of power to be able to downshift it and boot it out the corner. So if you can keep, say, in third gear going through a corner and keep your foot down and then get into fourth fairly quickly to get your power down and down a straight, that'll be better than the guy that's got loads of power that has to slam it into second or first, maybe even go wide on the corner to then boot it down the straight, he may overtake you, but you'll probably end up winning the race because he'll be stuck in some tyre wall somewhere trying to pull his sorry ass out of that. So anyway, that's enough just explaining that all to you there. So I tend to, most of the time, especially on a rear wheel drive anyway, I'll put the wings on, the adjustable wings. So that's that there. Any downforce you need, and it doesn't cost a lot of PI. You can, so this will remove a little bit of weight. So weight is a massive part. You can put a lot of extra horsepower into a car, but it could weigh I don't know, 3,000–4,000 pounds or more. So you've got all that power, but then you've got all that weight as well, which you have to consider when you're trying to stop it. So if you can reduce the weight, it will give you a quicker car because you haven't got as much to drag. So if you've got 5 fat people in a car that all weigh 20 stone each plus, and you're trying to race someone that's got 3 or 5 honeys in the car with him that all weigh 4 stone wet through, then you're going to go quicker. Very bizarre analogy there, but you see where I'm going with it. So you can have the same amount of people in the car, but if the other people are half the weight of them, they're going to go quicker if you're in exactly the same car. It does come down to driving as well. I can't knock that, you know, you could be an awesome driver, but the other guy's at least going to pull off a little bit quicker. So we're going to save a little bit of weight here. It doesn't actually change the PI, so we'll knock that off for 100 credits. And I always tend to go right to left. Whenever I tune a car, I always go right to left, but I may come back a little bit, and for things I shall explain for in a minute. So in an E-Class car, I'm not bothered about putting better grip tyre compound on, because you're not really going to need it. You can spend the PI elsewhere. So that's taking me up. What's that taking me up? 17 PI. So you can put, you have got enough in there to put the race tyre compound on, which give you loads of grip, but it's not going to give you a lot of anything else. In terms of tyre width, so the fatter the front tyres, the easier it is to turn in, and the fatter the rear tyres, the more grip you have. So for the sake of 3 PI there, we're going to add a fatter tyre compound to the back just to help with that grip, since we're not upping the actual tyre compound. So we're going to leave that there. I'll leave the rims for now and I'll explain that shortly. The clutch, I use manual with clutch, so I don't really worry about changing the clutch. If you use it automatic, you might want to change it because then it will increase the shift time. But something else to look out for is you can save yourself about £10 there, which isn't a lot, but you could save some weight if you're looking for an extra few PI here and there. So I don't normally worry about that. Transmission. Now in a lower class, in a higher class, I'd go for race transmission so you can tweak all the gears, but that does give us 3 PI. So I'm going to save myself a PI, and I'm actually going to go for a sports transmission, which reduces the shifting time by 0.08 compared to the street transmission, which doesn't really do a lot. So the street transmission, the difference between stock and street is that the gears have been tweaked slightly, and the difference between street and sport is that you can actually change the final drive, so you can make your shifts shorter or longer. And the difference between sport and race is that the race transmission, you can actually tweak each individual gear. So for this I'll go with sport, so at least I can tweak the actual gears for each track, and plus it's 2 PI, so it's not really a lot. The driveline I'm going to leave for now again, and again I'll explain that shortly. The diff doesn't cost you any PI, so always go with the race diff, which means you can actually tune the diff yourself. Tuning aspect of these videos, you can actually tune the diff how you want to increase grip, increase stability, and different things like that. Race brakes, you always want to go for race brakes. It saves you quite a lot of weight, and it also means that you can actually tune your racing, how you brake and different things like that, and it basically means you're going to stop the car better. I always like to go for the race springs there, just because again you can tune it, lowers the car, different things like that. The difference between these is some of them you can tune and some of them you can only tune the ride height, and then you've got full access to everything there. Anti-roll bars again, front and rear. It saves a bit of weight, and also doesn't change the PI unless you've already taken quite a lot of weight out, but it also means you can tune it just to make the body roll more or less in there. The roll cage, I don't tend to always put everything in, so I'm just going to leave that as it is for now. It can increase stability. The only time I would definitely 100% put it in straight away is if it changes the acceleration, which apparently it does on a few cars. But for now I'm leaving that because it does actually give me, it's only 2 PI, but I'm going to spend that 2 PI elsewhere. The weight, so each one of these will take off X amount of weight, but I'm going to save £309 by putting the race weight reduction on there. So we're going to do that, and we're now just we're just over £1.5 thousand. So that's all good there. So now we have got 25 HP, no, 25 PI points to spend in this lovely bit, which is going to give us power, which is what you need. So a few little tips here for you. If you had a turbo in here or something like that, it's always nice to try and upgrade that first, because that is more than likely going to give you the most power. Your displacement is basically the engine being bored out, which basically means it'll give it a greater capacity. So you can have a race engine block there, which giving us an extra 20 horsepower. So from here I would just go through each one and see which one gives me the most. So I'll get 9 there, more than likely that one's going to give us the most. 12, 14, but that is actually adding some weight, which is a little bit bizarre, so you've got to be careful with that. The ignition is going to give us 11. Now this is one of the most vital parts of a car. Not only does it make it sound like a sweet motherfucker, but it's also going to save you a lot of weight. It's going to actually save you about £50 in weight, plus giving you 15 extra horsepower in there. So it's always nice to try and upgrade the exhaust to the maximum you can, but we're just going to leave that now for now. The cams, so this basically changes how much it can rev up, and this tends to give you a lot, so plus 37 horsepower. But we can't do all that now, so we could do the 23 there, which gives us a spare 4 PI points to play with. So we've got 23 horsepower. So if you just press up on the D-pad, and you can check there, and it's going to take you up to 138 horsepower, but 117 foot-pounds of torque. So I'll explain a little bit more about that in a second. So just we can go 11 there. Spring compression. It's going to give us 13. Oil and cooling and the inner cooler, or whatever it is that you can sometimes add, I don't add because it always adds weight to the car. So I never add that on because you don't get a lot of extra horsepower compared to the weight. And the flywheel I tend to leave to last as well for weight reasons, which again I shall explain to you shortly. So basically at the minute it's between the displacement of plus 20 or the cams, which is plus 24. Sorry, 23. So here we've got 138 horsepower, 117 foot-pounds of torque. Go back here, let's go there. So we're going to go up to 135 and 127 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm actually going to go with that because it's going to give me more torque. So if we've got a track a bit like Bernese Alps or anything with a hill, you're going to need that extra grunt to pull you up the hill. So power is how quick you go, torque is how quickly you can get up that hill to an extent because it's pulling it, it's got the grunt. So I'm going to add that in, and then it's going to give us 7 PI points to play with. So my next instinct is to go for the exhaust because it's going to save us some weight. So we're going to save ourselves £8 there in weight, but give us 4 horsepower. But we might be able to get a bit more horsepower because £8 isn't a lot. It's you know, a poo if that. So we could go up to 8 horsepower there, and save ourselves £1, which is a lady poo. But that's there. So let's go here. We can have 6 horsepower, which saves us no weight really. It does a little bit because it makes it go green, but that's about it. We can have 7 there. So I'm just going to quickly check these. 8 there. And was that giving us? That takes us bang up. 8 there. So what you have to do is you go through, see what's giving you the most. That was 6, I think. Flicked off that a little bit quick. Yeah, 6. So those two are 8. Let's see, what else did we have? So we've got 8 there. Can't do that one because we've already upgraded that. So we've got 6. So there's no point in putting that on if we've got others. That's too much. That's only 4. 7. So it's between the 8s. So what I tend to do is, so that one's 8, so that's 143 and 134, which is quite easy to remember. 143, so that's giving us a little bit extra torque. So that's the winner at the minute, and then the other one was the pistons. 143, 134. So I'm going to go and upgrade my carburetor. So there we go, that's the build. That's basically the mythology that I kind of, if you call it mythology, but that's how the method I go through to upgrade my cars. Now it might not be the same right way, it might not be the wrong way, it might not be the way that everyone else does it. This is just the way that I tend to build my cars, and the thought process that I go through. And a couple of other little similar to this on Forza 5, but I'm doing it again for you guys that are new to Forza 6. So the reason why I said the flywheel is because it tends to shave off weight, but it also takes up a PI point. So if you had 1 point or 2 points that you couldn't get in anywhere else, check here. You might be able to just add 1 or 2 on there. But also if you go back and go back to your drive line, and you might find, there we go, we can take 2.2 pounds off. However, before we do that, back out of here and go to your wheels, go to your rims, and let's see if we can get any rims. So I'm just keeping an eye out on the class, so that doesn't change anything at all. So just make sure they're not going above into D class, so they're E, but what I'm going to quickly do is I'm just looking for a green flash with a purple E, if there is one. So they're white still. What you tend to find is rims tend to take off a bit too much weight when you're building a car. So what you do, there's nothing there, you can go through them all. Let's just quickly just go through them all for argument's sake, just in case someone on the comment says, oh, you missed these wheels or whatever. Nothing there. Just be careful because some of them might add weight as well. No, so let's just go back, add this drive line in, voila. So we've saved ourselves an extra few pounds there, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to go back here, and what you can actually do 9 times out of 10 is actually add some wheels, and it doesn't really change the weight or anything, but it means you've got some nice looking rims on there. So I am going to see which ones look nice. Those Fostons look good. Yeah, they look pretty cool. Makes it look a bit kind of like a caddy or something. So we'll add them, and there we go. So you've got some nice rims on there, and that's it basically. So you've got the car ready to go, and you can go and tune it and different things, and you've got a little bit more tuning available to you. But it also means that this car is ready to go and race it in that previous race, and you should be able to go straight into it, and different things like that. I tend to run with no assist, so I would do a little bit of tuning to this car, but that doesn't mean that the car won't go without you doing any tuning, or you might just have to tweak it a little bit. But what you might find is that the other cars probably won't get anywhere near this compared to what we've got now. So we've got 143 horse, excuse me, bit of a hiccup, 143 horsepower, 135 foot-pounds of torque, 1,691 pounds in weight, and it's got a front of 71%. So what I'm going to do, if this works, it might not work. I want to get 2 of these cars, and I'm just going to quickly show you the difference. And what I'll try and do on the video is put them side by side so we can see that. So what I'm going to do is go to race, just select that, and we're going to go here, classic compact. So it will let me pick this now because it's in the right class, wherever it is. There we go. But I'm going to buy a car, and hopefully it'll let me buy it again. I'm not that bothered about the so that is telling us sorry, just to show you, so it's E300 already. So I'm going to buy it, I'm going to put a different paint job on, and then we're just going to compare it and see what happens. I'll go for a complete, I'll go, let's have a bit of red, white and blue. There we go. Wait for this to save.
This is your
night. Heard it too many times. So I'm just going to back out because it takes you straight into the race there. And let's see what difference we've got. Back. So if I go into the upgrade shop, and if we just go to conversions, so 160 horsepower, 143 foot-pounds of torque, 1,976 pounds, and it's got a front of 52%. Now if we compare that with the other car that we had, that I built up before, it is significantly different. And what I'll do is, because I can't do this like live now as I'm recording this, I will quickly just cut the video and I'll just quickly explain to you what the difference is. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I'll just quickly cut over to the other bit, just to show you the differences of what the computer does and what I do in terms of looking at that. They may have a little bit more horsepower and a little bit more torque, but they're not going to have as good weight and grip abilities. So I just thought I'd show you that, guys. I really hope you enjoy it. I'll just quickly flick over in a minute to that end bit, and I'll just see you all soon. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, a comment, a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. I know this has gone on for nearly 30 minutes, but I just wanted to get all those little nitty-gritty details down for you guys. So until next time, I'll see you all soon. As promised, guys, just a very quick wrap up on this video. The 2 screens you can see here, the one on the left is the tuning that or the build that I've done, and on the right you've got the build that the computer automatically does. First of all, we're just going to have a very quick look at the stats. On mine is slightly slower than the one that the computer's done. So my speed is 4.3, theirs is 4.7, so their car's going to be a little bit quicker power wise. The handling, I've got 4.6, they've only got 4.1. So with the speed, it's only a 4-point difference. With the handling, that's 5 points. So you're getting into some serious numbers here, where it's almost, you know, you're halfway to your next point, or full point, and that's going to make a significant difference. The acceleration is exactly the same, 6.7, 6.7. So there's nothing that's different between the 2 cars in terms of the acceleration, but then if you look at the braking, I've got 4.7, and the computer, the way they've done it, is got 4.2. so again I've got another 5 point or 0.5 point difference between the 2, and that is going to make a massive difference. So although this one's got the computer one on the right that was automatically done for us, does have a 4-point speed advantage. That is the only thing it does have. That doesn't necessarily mean it is going to be quicker, it just means it's got a little bit more power. So it may outpower us, and it may, depending on the tune and that, beat us, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is going to beat you, because you've got that handling and that braking, which means you can brake later into the corners and you'll be able to get around the corners a little bit easier. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly switch these over, and we're just going to quickly show the power. So these are just the actual facts of it. So again, I'm on the left, computer's on the right. So the power for my build was 143 horsepower, theirs is 160. My torque is 135 and theirs is 143. My weight is 1,691 and theirs is 1,970, and the front is 51%, theirs is 52. So there's not a lot in it there. And as you see the stats, you can go, yeah, okay, wow, they've got, quickly doing the maths, around just under 20, what's that, 17 horsepower more in their core than mine, and they've got an extra 8 foot-pounds of torque, but my car is actually lighter and the front, so that mine's got a little bit more balance to it than theirs, so it's almost 50-50. The balance isn't a massive thing. Yes, mine has got less power, but it also weighs less, which means my car, although it has a slight power deficit, it'll actually be able to go that little bit quicker because it's not dragging all that sorry weight behind it. And you are talking almost £500 there between the two difference, which is a lot. For any wrestling fans out there, that's like having Big Show in the boot. There's a lot of difference there. I just wanted to show you the difference there between the stats, just to show you what the difference is. But take the two cars out yourself, see what you think to the difference between the two. But that was just my quick little build guide. It did go on for a little bit longer than I thought, but I wanted to make sure I got everything in there for you guys to help you build your cars and get on your way. And then stay tuned. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all those wonderful things. I've got plenty of content coming out this week, and I've also got a couple of tuning videos coming out for you as well. So until next time, guys, I shall see you all soon.